First, you used these people to win yourself a kingdom, and now you herded them here under threat of being stomped to death by giants if they leave or disobey. After all that they've gone through, all that they've done, all that they've suffered, this is how you intend to repay them.
No kingdom will stand with people like them within its borders. They would have to change their ways. The Del Rita are not ready for this. You know this.
You did worse than all of them combined, and you are the one responsible for all they've done so far. They fought for your name and under your banners. Does this mean you're not fit to be a king? Not ready to have a kingdom?
I left the heritage of Pendragon behind me. I severed the ties between myself and my tribe. I lost all that tied me to the past when I became king. I set a new path for myself. They are not ready to do that.
Bullshit. You forced them to go against their sacred traditions. You destroyed their identities. They betrayed their comrades because you ordered them to. They kidnapped the children of the giants because you told them to do it. Everything they did was so that you could win this war. And now what? You're going to punish them for being your best, fiercest soldiers, most loyal of your men?
This is not...
Oh, stop with your excuses already. You broke them, and now you're abandoning them to starve or freeze to death in these damned lands.
This kingdom needs to be built on peace, Caradoc. Letting them live among merchants, lords, and ladies in Camelot or Timberwall. How would that go?
Exactly as anyone would expect it to go.
So we would end up with a civil war. Right after we won the war that almost annihilated us all.
Oh, damn you. I've had enough. I stood by you through everything. Even what you did to me. To Seawall. I let it all slide. I told myself it was for something. For a noble cause. But this is where I draw the line. I renounce my oaths, and I'm walking away. Put a blade in my back if that helps you sleep. I don't care. Not anymore.
Now I left the best of my people here. Everything. This land. There is And what if my decision cost them the ability to grow? What if instead of helping, I may have been right about the diagnosis. The tribes helped us win the war. But I had to do something. I come from the Pendragon bloodline, a heritage that pillaged and fought in the homelands for longer than anyone can remember. I decided to leave it behind me when we won the war against the Foredwellers and built our kingdom. Now we've seen that the giants sided with our enemy. We had to. So, under cover of night, the tribes, one of the most humiliating moments of Caradoc had the clearest, and I think I destroyed that. He used to carry. There's nothing left. Nothing worth saving. Nothing worth rebuilding. I betrayed the ones who believed. I turned away from my own blood to build something better. Do what you want. That's all I've ever done got turned into dust.
Once and future king, you return. Speak your will through the mortal. Is it time? We are your...
We are ready to begin the moot. You were strong enough. What is your will, my king? We had the chance to end the war once. I only hope that the threat of the weirdness is real and not once again. Thank you. I, the voice of the Dal. Yes? This please their skill. Allow me in return for your effort. Yes?
kings. Well, if the giants had marked.
Come here. Good to see you, stranger. A weird night hit. I'm Ked. We've got one of those all. They say the crowd, but and oh, he's so you're a real you. They say. Sure. Hey, you there. Non Rita. Spare a moment, will you?
So, you finally met. I hope you're ready. Ready to finish your journey, of course. You've come far, but this is the Charred Conclave, a graveyard for druids, burned alive as scapegoats for... Well, first, you're going to meet my former employer. We don't see eye to eye anymore, but we both realize that our collaboration... He'll try to sugarcoat the hard truths I've been telling you. Why waste time here talking about it when you're just a... To greet you. I was once where you are now, and here I found... They spoke out. They should have stayed... They believed their ancient knowledge. Ugly and painful truth. But people don't want the truth. Cruel rituals. They called it wisdom. Not but to the people, everything they did. The druids believed their results would justify the costs. They thought Avalon... Well, the Red Church and their politicians made sure of that. It's always so... Well, death doesn't always mean an ending, and so you're the close... Just remember, once you step... But if you go on...
At last we meet. I've heard much about you. Your choices, your determination. Few dare to seek the truths buried in Avalon shadows. Fewer still make it this far. I was the first. And now, here you are. A truly... What lingers here? It's older than Avalon. Older than anything we know. Its purest form. Raw potential. Oh, precisely the opposite of what Caradoc wants. I want you to help... Ridiculous, I know. But yes, that's what it... Ultimately, though. Yes, please. By the end of his life, Arthur became obsessed with his legacy. Excalibur. But Merlin and the others didn't believe that would be... So they acted. When the king died, his soul wasn't a clever solution. They feared losing what Arthur represented more than losing Arthur himself. They thought the king's essence would endure. You can't pick and choose with a soul, but that's exactly what Merlin did. He left out two pieces. One, tainted by the Four Dwellers' magic, was deemed too dangerous. Merlin thought compassion and doubt were weaknesses, unfit for a king. That way, Avalon... I tried. And I found his humanity. It's here. Finding it needed more than magic. The horrors you endured on that island gave you something no one else has. That's why you found the king's soul. You flatter me. No, I couldn't have predicted. I can see you still doubt. I want to bring back our king, whole and complete. Won't. This time, Arthur will be whole. Because I've seen what happens without him. Weirdness preys on the weak. Ever they're left without him, without guidance, chaos. If things continue this way, they will follow him. That's what people do. Help me bring the king back. Now you need... I made my case. This is the...
I was there when it all began. We believed in him, but then came the cost. We turned from knights into At first I told myself it was that Arthur wasn't a god, and no man. But do you understand? I'd like to believe that after 6, you need to understand that people thought, but he was. I've seen what happens when, but that's not what comes after. Arthur's the only myth that still holds weight. A puppet king, maybe they'll keep pretending for a while. Let them stand, let them fall. It's not my... At least it won't be another king's failure. And then let it. If this world can't... Call it... What comes after? I've lived longer than any man should. Arthur isn't Avalon's hope. He's its curse. We were fooled. Resurrect. Such this... Listen, you've brought Arthur's soul back together. Almost so. You're close now. Just one, and then... We'll meet... Go.
You've come. The one who carries... Please, don't come any... Just... Because I've had enough. Enough of being torn apart. Do you know what it is like to be a king of nothing? I've seen towns burnt to the ground. Families. I've been dragged and... He thinks ending me will free Avalon. But what the people always seek something to take that away, and they'll tear. I want really kill me. Destroy the last piece of me and use just Orin, but symbol. Do you let me die? I don't care. Do you know to not feed, to not... Isn't that what doesn't... But do what... And that you hold the choice. I don't care who... I don't just let...
Help me bring the king back. Now I made my this.
Go on.
Let me...
You carried a duck. Now you stand. I am the... I do not guide. I do not judge. I do not offer. You have now. Choose. You will break the frame. You will shape the world. You will be seen. You will vanish into the... Who do you... Then the idea shall fall, but the soul is not yet yours to give.
Thank you. But promise me, you will win this fight, my friend.
After everything you've seen, you side with Caradoc. Then all the suffering now I am Avalon will...
You brought down the cycle with steady hands and no promise of glory. You did not claim the throne. You buried it. There is no king now. Only the truth you made and the path others may follow. You had no answers, only scars and the will to keep walking. And sometimes that was enough to keep others going too. With your support, Galahad brought unity and discipline back to the south. The Dalrita rebellion was contained, and for the first time in years, the people could breathe in peace. Soon after you made your decision in the resurrection chamber, Denham took the men here to Camelot, along with most of Kuanak's people. Yvain departed in silence to pursue the Grail and never returned, his absence barely noted as Kuanak faded into history. You awakened the giants, only to command their end, leaving no power behind for either side to claim. Without their strength, the balance held, but the divide between Camelot and the Dal Rita remained, wide, bitter, and far from settled. Fergus remained captain of the Horns of the South. Under his leadership, the Horns honored their old traditions and returned under Camelot's banner, securing order along the southern frontier. Nianta stayed behind in Kuanak, guiding the people through that. When the time came to leave, she traveled with them to Camelot, building a new life while continuing her work. In time, she became a pillar of the Kuanak community in a foreign land. Maggot remained among the people of Kuanak and eventually moved with them to Camelot. There, where druids were forbidden, the community hid him in plain sight. He spent the rest of his life in secrecy, protected by those he had once helped. Eothra left Kuanak alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life and spoke of him with lasting respect. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. With the Stagfather slain and the old bonds broken, Balaam led the Svine towards a new path. He opened the tribe to the other clans of the Dal Rita and guided them to settle in the Mather mines. Killian served as quartermaster of the Horns of the South, until one night his thirst for blood drove him to murder a fellow keeper. He was caught in the act and brought to a swift end.
Так, ну вот, и закончилась эта игра. Что можно сказать? Ну, под конец разочаровало. Вначале все было классно. И я ей дам 7 баллов. Как бы играть, советую ли кому-нибудь играть? Ну, попробовать можете начать, но... Я бы не сказал, что она прям супер. В начале, да, там что-то есть, механики приятные, но так себе. Сюжетец очень слабый, вот про вот этих персонажей мы с ними как бы, они не сильно раскрыты. Вообще никак не раскрыты. В общем, разработчики не умеют в хороший, так сказать, эпик. Но зато геймплей был относительно неплох в начале. Под конец, да, он скурился там. Так что такая вот неоднозначная игра получилась. Игрой года это точно не будет, потому что, ну, довольно слабо. Довольно слабо все сделано. Хоть и относительно качественно, многие моменты проработаны, но сама игра неоднозначная под конец, как я сказал. Вначале вам так классно, весело, а потом уже не так интересно. Нет, знаете, прям такого вау, как какой-нибудь игре. Даже в экспедиции. Но в экспедиции сюжет был хороший. И теперь я понимаю, я как бы поставил как-то до того, как прошел эту игру, экспедицию, и до того, как дошел до 3-го акта, более низко, но теперь я понимаю, экспедиция была повеселее, конечно. Ну, тоже душная была, там это и не отнять, но там хоть сюжет был интересным, приятным. А здесь непонятно тоже, главный герой непонятно кто, непонятно, что чем закончилось. Ну, такое себе. Опять нашего главного героя использовали, непонятно где. В своих целях. А у него никакой цели не было. В общем, 7 баллов. 7 баллов. Это все, что можно сказать об этой игре. И все, и новая игра, да, там есть новая игра, там акт 1. А, мы можем акты выбирать, да? А что такое акт 1? В общем, если вам делать нечего, можете поиграть в нее. Но если играть есть во что, играть в нее не стоит. Она не реиграбельная. Ну, 7 баллов, они есть 7 баллов. Прошли, да прошли. Прошли, сейчас удаляем ее со Стима и все, и забываем о ней навсегда. Ждем ТС-6, ну или какие-нибудь новые игры. Так что вот так вот, ребята. На этом закончились приключения главного героя в этом мире. Ждут его новые приключения. Может быть, сегодня что-нибудь подрублю, посмотрим. У меня вроде ничего не скачано, хотя, может, Сталкер надо обновлять, вроде как и Вовод надо обновлять. Посмотрим. Если подрублю, то вернусь через пару часиков. А пока всем спасибо, подписывайтесь и увидимся в будущем.